Hey guys, some of you might have seen a video recently. The Unskilled vacuum cleaner repair guy was trying to fix an old vacuum cleaner that we use for outside. So usually we just use it for cleaning this room and the storeroom and the workshop and outside rooms like that. Sometimes the Genkan, sort of a dirty place vacuum cleaner, sometimes the car. And it was really useful. It was here when we moved in. The old man had it and it was lying around in amongst all the rubbish when we moved in, and we fired it up and it worked really well, so we used it for all cleaning up the outside. It worked really hard. It worked really hard. When this room, when we first came here, some of you might remember, it had inches of dirt and old wheat and all sorts of rubbish in here, and all the big outside rooms and a lot of the outside areas we cleaned up with that vacuum cleaner. So it had a really hard 10 years, and it was already old when we got it. So it belonged to the old man when we got it. It was already old then, so who knows how old it was, but it still was really powerful. As someone said on Patreon, it really sucked. It really did suck, and that was really good. And then it burnt out, right? So then the Unskilled vacuum cleaner repair guy tried to fix it, and it turned out that a bush had burnt out pretty much, and it needed a new bush. So we looked at it, and it turned out it was going to be about $20 to get a new one, and that was hoping that if we spent $20 fixing it, that it would still work, and weren't that confident, and it was an old vacuum cleaner anyway, so what the heck. So as mentioned on that video, probably from the second-hand shop we can probably buy one like this for $20. Yeah, okay. So we broke it all down into pieces and threw it away in the recycling, right? Then this week, we went to the recycling shop. They call it a recycle shop in Japan. It's a second-hand shop, basically. And had a look, and the cheapest decent vacuum cleaner they had was 6,000 yen, right, which is about $60. For a vacuum cleaner to clean outside the house, $60. And because, you know, some of you already know we're really stingy, so we were surprised that that was the cheapest they had. And even then, they didn't have sort of bag ones. They had ones with little boxes inside them that the dirt would get collected in, and then you empty it out. And they're really small. And for the sort of dirty work that we do, you know, we'd fill one of those up in 20 minutes, you know, 10 minutes. So that wasn't going to do it. So basically they weren't good enough for the job, and they were too expensive. They were like 6,000 yen. So I came home from that, and since then it's sort of been really annoying. It's like, you know, it probably would have been worth spending that $20, getting that bush, you know, and fixing that vacuum cleaner in hindsight, you know, knowing what we know now. It's like, okay, so next time we have something break, don't throw it away until we're absolutely sure, you know, let's not recycle it till we're sure it can't be fixed or there's a better option. So sort of last few days have been like, because we're super stingy about things like that. I was like, that was a waste. Damn. So anyway, today came out to this old room to get some other stuff. We needed some other things. And came over this other back corner of this room over here, right? Came over to this corner over here and was getting something off this shelf and looked up there and saw that, right? Which had forgotten all about that thing, because 10 years ago when we moved in and we were sorting out all the rubbish, those of you who haven't seen the sorting out the rubbish videos, have a look. There was 10 ton of stuff here. We threw away 10 ton of stuff, and we kept a lot of stuff like the old vacuum cleaner and that one. And at the time, the one that we were using was our choice. It was an easier one to use, and we're just using it for everything. And that one got thrown up on the shelf and forgotten about, sort of because it's a little bit more bulky. The other one was sort of more compact, and this one's more bulky. So it just got thrown up on that shelf and forgot all about it. Just forgot it was even there. And then today, came to get something off this other shelf here for a trip to the beach, and looked up on that shelf, and there it was. And because plugged it in, and it fires up, and it sucks. It really, really sucks. And it's actually quite a good one. The bottom section of it, this bottom part here, is just storage for the dust. This is the motor, and that's the storage for the dust. And it's huge, so you can fill that up, and when it's full, just unclip it and throw that away. It doesn't even need dust bags. So it's perfect. It's exactly what we went to the shop looking for, on casters and everything. So if that was in the recycle shop, it would have been more than $60. It probably would have been $100. Probably would have been Ichiman yen. So it's dirty and dusty and it needs to be cleaned up, of course, but who gives a rat's? I mean, the whole thing is for cleaning the floor out here and in the workshop and cleaning out the car. So, happy days, happy ending. So now it turns out we're lucky we didn't buy the bush, because that would have been $20 that we didn't need to spend. And we're lucky that we didn't buy the $60 one at the recycling shop this week, because if we'd bought that and then come home and found that, we would have been kicking ourselves. So we know not everybody's as stingy as us. We know, I mean, there are people in our family that are way less stingy than us, that spend money like it's going out of fashion and wouldn't waste time with an old vacuum cleaner like that. They'd just throw it away and buy a new one for sure. For about the new ones, we actually did go to the electrical shop this week, and the new ones, we weren't thinking of buying one, but just out of curiosity, have a look at the new ones, and there's nothing cheaper than about $300 new. So, happy days, happy ending. Look at that. Look at that. Going to go fire that up now and clean the workshop and clean the car. It's perfect. So, happy ending, isn't that? There's some random nonsense. The only thing that's got to do with Japan is the fact that we're in Japan. For those of you who haven't seen in here before, or saw in here a long time ago, not a lot's changed. Here's those things we used to sell on eBay. Remember those good old days? We used to sell stuff on eBay. Just way too difficult now. Just can't be done. Anyway, there was that. You might notice the kerosene heaters have been brought inside, and the fans that were there have been taken in. Interestingly, the temperature changes here so quickly. You know, we had winter where it was cold and we were using those kerosene heaters every day, and then we had about a week or so of really nice weather, and then it got really warm. And so now, then we didn't need the stoves anymore, we needed the fans. It happens every year, and it'll happen again at the end of the year. We'll bring the fans back here, and we'll put them there, and we'll take those kerosene heaters inside. It changes that quick, that you go from needing to be cooled down to need to be warmed up, and vice versa. So anyway, that was that. That was that. Probably the most interesting thing, there's lots of stuff in this room, but probably the most interesting thing in this room, considering, for some of us anyway, is this bellows. This is an old bellows that was used by for blacksmithing. So you pump the handle there, and it blows out the hole down the bottom, which would have a little tube that would have blown into underneath where the fire was for the blacksmithing. Now we've actually seen one exactly like that, but in worse condition. So it was exactly the same as that, but not as in good condition. We saw one once in a museum. So walking through a museum, and there was one just like that behind glass. And you know, here's this old blacksmithing bellows, you know, and not as in good condition as that. It was really cool. It was like, oh, check that out. You know, we got one of those. Still works perfectly well, and beautiful condition, you know. Sort of a museum piece, isn't it? And again, that was here when we moved in. We also found some slag out in the garden, some blacksmithing slag, like they'd been what do you call that when you extract iron from ore or something? No idea really. But and the other thing we found too was a big old bucket, those old wooden buckets full of coal, full of like charcoal, that would be connected with that some way too, wouldn't it? So someone did some sort of blacksmithing or ore, I don't know, whatever you do with ore, I don't know. Iron Age shit. Anyway, there was that. It was pretty random, wasn't it? More videos coming soon.